Now we can talk. Hi, Pat.
I don't want to now.
Well, fuck
I
you.
don't want to.
How about that?
That's fair.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Tim. It's
This is...
been 8 weeks since my last confession, and oh wait, no, that's not what we're doing here. Wait a minute.
You been to
Where
confession
am I?
recently? I'm kind of proud of you, actually.
With how long it's taken us to do this episode of podcast, I might have been there more recently.
Yeah, I mean, so
Back to the action.
yeah. All right. Well, welcome into this newest episode of season 3 of Gridiron Dynasty. Right? This is our third year doing this. Right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, third year doing it.
Close enough.
So yeah, we're gonna change the format up for the show a little bit. For the first episode, normally we went into rookie rankings, but scheduling conflicts, real life kind of got in the way of us recording. Pat, if you guys haven't noticed, has a new backdrop behind him because he moved. So we had to go through all that setting up, making sure it was ready, so that we could bring you guys this A+ content that you watch and you love, which is what this is. It's A+ content, Patrick.
C minor.
Right. So what we're going to do today is, hopefully it's a shorter episode, and I say that every single time, and then wind up setting off Pat on a tangent, and then...
Oh, blame me.
I said I set you off on a tangent, so that's a 50-50
right.
blame, okay?
I can live with that.
Okay.
That's fine.
So what we're doing today is we're going to be doing Dynasty rankings for each position, top 10 of the position. No, I'm not going to go into each single person. We're just going to go over the discrepancies and what we notice, like who's borderline, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. All right. So why don't we just get it started? Go right into it. Pat, would you mind sharing your screen?
I would love to. I think that would be fantastic for all of us.
I think so too.
Here we go.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Oh, there it is. Haha.
Yes, we can see it. So
It's in a different window.
these are the
Very
quarterback
confusing.
rankings. So for me, 1, 2, and 3 are interchangeable. I'm assuming they were for you too.
Yep.
I just have Mahomes at 1 because it's Mahomes,
I put the two that run the ball into the end zone ahead of Mahomes,
which is fair.
just because they run the ball into the end zone.
Right, but like if your rankings include these 3 at the top, that's all I care about. And then number 4, we're both the same with Joe Burrow, so really the top 4, but Burrow's not in their category because Burrow doesn't run the ball. He doesn't throw as many touchdowns as Mahomes to be in that top 3 category for me. So that's why Burrow's at 4. And then we hit our discrepancies. We pretty much have similar people as far as the rest of the list. The next 4 are the same. They're just jumbled up, and then we just have a difference at number 10. I personally, it was hard for me to rank Tua inside the top 10 because of the concussions. That's why I don't have him in there. It's a toss up. He gets another concussion, he might be done.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
So that's why I have him outside the top 10.
I don't like the Browns.
I don't either, but they got Elijah Moore, and that should
Deshaun
help.
showed me nothing last year, which granted, first year, new team, first time back from a long layoff. So we'll get a little courtesy back. But yeah, once you get out of the top 3, it becomes a jumble of about 8 to 9 different. So Tua's got the better weapons as far as I'm concerned. And they showed a more adept ability to pass the ball last year than the Browns did. And also, the Browns is the Browns. Is that a saying? I think it's a saying.
Browns are the Browns.
The Browns is the Browns.
Browns go Brown.
That's it.
Oh, Michael.
I mean, it's not a terrible pick.
No, it's not, but it's not the pick for me. But anyway, sorry, we have a draft going on as we're doing this. It's a slow draft, and I don't have a pick until the 4th round.
So. There's Jackson.
Yeah, Berman just scooped that right up. Anyway, yeah, the only big discrepancy in our list besides the 2 on Watson is I have Lamar at 5, you have Lamar at 9. I'm assuming it's injury history for you and just the lack of... Well, he actually got weapons this offseason in Baltimore to go along with Mark Andrews.
I think they got a good upgrade as far as QB is concerned, but injury concern, just the way quarterbacks that run like that tend to not have longevity.
Which is funny because your number 5 is a guy who runs like that.
It is, but he's younger, and
That's true.
I'm gonna throw it up to that at the moment. They got a new coach out there. They have.
A
I,
new
I I
wide
feel like,
receiver.
but they got a new coach too, don't they?
Yeah, but they also have a shiny new wide receiver one that he didn't have.
Yeah, you leave it alone. Darnell Mooney's still number one. Don't
No, he's not. Stop.
Chase
Listen, I'm one of the
Claypool.
biggest Mooney
Numero
believers
uno.
out there, so
Listen, if it takes away some pressure, then it is what it is. I think he's got more weapons to throw to. A different coaching staff. You're gonna see. Either he's gonna move up, or this is gonna be the end of his run in Chicago. So
mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna find out real fast whether or not he's the QB of the future there, or whether there's a QB coming in next year there. So personally, and again, this is, let me not hype on this too much. This is fantasy football.
Right, not real football.
I don't think Justin Fields is the fifth best quarterback in the NFL. Please don't get me wrong. Um, but running ability, fantasy points, sometimes you got to put aside that little voice in your head that says it's the Bears, and you
Right.
gotta do.
Yeah, and
Am I
then
about to do this?
the only other thing I want to touch on in the top 10 is we both have one rookie in there, and that rookie is Bryce Young. I thought about Anthony Richardson, but I also don't know what's going on in Indianapolis right now. Jonathan Taylor might have back problems, or so I don't know. It's just nuts going on up there. I wasn't a huge fan of Anthony Richardson anyway. He's got a cannon. Don't get me wrong, and he can run the ball. It's just he seemed raw. So I
I
rather
agree,
the
and
most pro ready was Bryce Young in this draft.
I think he was. They knew he was going to be raw. I think everyone knew he was going to be raw, but it's the talent that's there to build up to it. So I mean, he's probably lurking somewhere in the top 15 in terms of rankings are
Mm-hmm.
concerned. Yeah, you saw that. Look back at that. That's Patrick drafting a quarterback in the first round of a rookie draft. Give me things that
That
don't
was
happen
you.
for 1,000, please,
Okay, that
Alex.
was you.
That was,
I was wondering
that
who
was
took
me.
Bryce Young there.
That was me.
Wow.
I don't love this rookie draft. Don't get me wrong. There's some players, but I feel like there's more stretches than there are locked in places.
Yeah, I don't like Zay
Um,
Flowers.
I don't like Zay Flowers either, and I agree that he's probably the next player that should have come off the board. So I'm not picking him.
Well, no, to me, that next pick would have been Dalton Kincaid, but that's a different story. We'll get to that later.
We will get to that later because we all have opinions. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I don't see anything that crazily stands out in a top 10 that you could say shouldn't be in a top 10. Um, I don't think there's anyone that completely reached for something outrageous in terms of this,
Yeah.
or drop someone to somewhere ridiculous they don't belong.
Yeah. And if you're doing a startup draft, I'll just throw this out there. Guys like there would be guys that put up fantasy points more than someone on this list. There's going to be a guy who finishes in the top 10 this year that's not on this list that I'm not ranking in the top 10 because this is Dynasty. It's more than one season. Like, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Jets fan. I can definitely see Aaron Rodgers finishing in the top 10 this year as a fantasy QB. He's not a Dynasty top 10. He's not a Dynasty top 20 right now because of his age. He's playing 2 more years pretty much. So don't like if you're in a draft and you're picking late and you want to take a shot on like CJ Stroud, just pair him with an older quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, or even Stafford might have a bounce back year this year. Who knows? So
Can't go any further down.
no, you can't. All right.
Jerk off. Anywho. Okay.
Anywho,
Get your shot in there. Good job. Proud of you.
you made your own shot.
You're right. Okay.
So what do you mean I did a shot?
Shut up.
Don't be mad just
It's your
because
fault.
my team has a better trajectory this year for once in my lifetime.
That's okay. The regular season will fix that.
I'm excited for football.
Here we
this year,
go.
Matt. Running backs. Yep. Number one is the next LaDainian
John
Tomlinson. Like
He might be number one in redraft leagues. I don't want to
no,
reach
CMC still
too
going.
far.
CMC and JT are still
Listen,
going ahead of him, I think, in ADPs.
yeah, where they're going is one thing, but in terms of where they're going to finish at the end of the year, And it'll be interesting to watch how everything unfolds in the Falcons' land because we already watched them,
Hmm.
drive one guy into the ground that we thought was going to be really good on this list. Um, but it wouldn't surprise me if he put up top running back numbers. And I know it's rough to say in year one because no one likes to finish that sentence that way when it comes to running backs or tight ends. But in year one, he might just be that guy.
Yeah, no, I get
You got
it.
to look at you got to look at CMC who just loves getting hurt, and Jonathan Taylor who is pretending to be hurt, who the coaches are pretending to be hurt.
I think the coaches are
Someone
pretending
is
is hurt.
pretending that he's hurt,
Yeah, I think it's Jim
and
Irsay
I don't know
actually
who
that's
it
pretending
is.
he's hurt.
And I think Jim Mercer is pretending they're both hurt.
Yeah,
Maybe a little butt hurt. It's okay. It
a little
doesn't
bit.
matter. A little bit. Um,
Yeah, so we
and
pretty
then
much
yeah,
have the same 10 players. You just have Damian Pearson, Nick Chubb inside yours. I have Austin Eckler and Travis Etienne in mine. I don't like Nick Chubb's going to be great. He always is for fantasy football. It's just the fact that the Browns don't throw him the football that one of these years it's not going to work.
no, but now Kareem Hunt gone.
Mm-hmm. There's
Different,
still
different kind of
Ernest.
yeah, yeah. Listen, yeah, they got that guy. I think you might have a little bit different of an outcome for him this year. He's still 27, 20 something.
He's young, but I think
He
he's
he he ain't 30 is my
no.
point. Right, once you hit 30, you need to stop getting ranked inside the top 10 of dynasty football.
He's at
Uh,
11 for me just to be clear.
that's completely fair.
He's right there.
I just feel like he always has big years. He's always a big player, and I don't love Deshaun Watson, but I
No
also
one loves him.
thought that the Browns are never going to score points. So I do really like Nick Chubb there. A big difference for us is Brees Hall also
Yeah,
on
I
the
don't.
list.
I'm not. You're gonna have to explain yourself on
Um,
that one.
why are you still looking to get Dalvin Cook?
We're not really. They
If
made him an
you're that
offer, and that's it.
invested, right, you're making offers to top free agent running backs.
Yeah,
I think
just because
that's
they're going Super Bowl or bust this year, and I think they're looking at probably the most dynamic 1-2 punch in league history if you do Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook.
and if you look at splitting carries for an entire year, maybe more, depending on the contract that they give him, I think it's going to significantly drive down the return on your investment in drafting him that high.
I would agree with you, but everything I'm reading about the Jets is the Jets offered him a contract that is suitable for
He said
them,
no.
and
Yeah.
that Dalvin Cook would be the number two, and Brees Hall would still be the guy. He'd be playing second fiddle to him. So I personally am on the fence of whether or not Dalvin Cook signs with us. If he wants to win a ring, come to the Jets. If you want to get paid and live at home, go to Miami.
Sorry, I almost died there.
I know,
It had
but
to reduce my noise.
you have to
I
you have to understand that right now the Jets
almost
are the more
died.
intriguing option as far as going deep for a playoff run and stuff like that right now. That's why I said that. So it's just I don't know. I still think that Brees Hall is RB2. I almost put him at RB1, but then I remember Bijan Robinson is just going to be that entire offense.
I didn't like Brees Hall last year. Hence the reason I traded him away to you. Uh,
If he didn't get hurt, he was
and
offensive rookie of the year.
uh, yeah, but he got hurt.
Yeah, that sucked.
And running backs have a tendency to get hurt. And if you take a look here, a lot of my older approaching contract year running backs get dropped down because I don't know what's happening with running backs right now. Um, Josh Jacobs should probably be 3 or 4 on this list, and we both have him in the same spot.
Because he doesn't have a
And
contract.
he doesn't have a contract, and you don't know what's going to happen after that rookie deal expires now. It just seems like they're just grabbing the next rookie, and that guy is going away. He becomes an RB2 or something else and a two-headed back somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're doing with them right now. There's no longevity in the running back role, which I think is a lot of the reason that I have 2 rookies is 1 and 2. And then I have Barkley at 3, which I hate because I don't like Saquon Barkley. But it just feels like the Giants want to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
And after a year of watching no one get signed, I feel like they'll find a deal that's somewhere good enough for the both of them.
They better hope that Saquon doesn't have like a monster career year because he's just gonna want a buttload of money again, and then they're gonna be doing
And
his
that's
dance all
where
over again.
where you going to get it from?
That's the problem.
Where
That
are
so
you going to get it
I don't
from?
disagree with the running back saying that they should be getting paid more because the outstanding running backs in the league should be getting paid more than Cole Kmet's getting paid.
Here's the thing, and I get their argument also, but how many times do you talk about a running back getting hurt and there goes that team's whole year? Because that's if you're the running back, you're the running back. There's not a lot of teams that have that two-headed monster where you can just move on to the next guy. Quarterback get hurt, year over,
Right.
right? But running backs get hurt and there it goes.
Right.
Like CMC gets hurt and everyone's like, well, I didn't think the Panthers were going to do it good anyway, but now they might as well never win a game again. It's like you completely eliminated the Panthers from existence the second CMC went down.
Yep.
The 49ers lost 4 quarterbacks and, made it almost to the Super Bowl.
Right. It's just that
So
you saw Cole Kmet's contract extension, and it's just like, why is Cole Kmet, who hasn't really done a lot in the league, he's had one second half of a good year, and he got a contract extension versus someone like Saquon Barkley, who last year came back from a significant injury and played really well. You got Josh
second
Jacobs.
significant injury. Second significant injury.
Right, and then you had Josh Jacobs last year, who was a complete and total dominant player, not getting paid, but Cole Kmet does. I'm sorry, Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley mean more to their teams than Cole Kmet does.
It's I agree. I'm not going to disagree. And you have a whole lot of reasons to not give Cole Kmet a giant contract.
And it wasn't even that
you got
big, but it's bigger than running
quarterbacks that are. It's the timetable on running backs, and when you look at it and you look at their durability in the league and you look at how long they last for, does the contract almost ever match what it was? And it just seems to answer no.
Yeah.
It just anytime you give a running back a big contract, they disappear in 2 years. They have one injury that leads to another injury. You paid them too much. You couldn't pay your offensive line anymore. Your quarterback gets hurt. They get hurt. Everyone's hurt. Team's in the gutter. So I just every time it seems like someone makes a big contract to a running back, it's money that probably should have went somewhere else.
Yep.
Because they get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I ain't trying to blame them, but if you're paying all them, where are you going to pay the offensive line?
Right, and then you can make the argument that they need the money because their job is not as secure. They need to be able to make that financial statement.
I think a running back guaranteed contract at a lower rate may make more sense than a giant running back contract.
A 2-year, $22 million fully guaranteed contract.
Right, a fully guaranteed type thing where if you get hurt, you get paid. But listen, it's not the greatest money in the entire NFL, but here's a decent chunk of it, but we're going to give it all to you.
Mm-hmm.
Play or don't play. And I think that's where the running back thing is going to end up eventually because they just get hurt all the time.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You try to rank running backs, and then by week 4, you're like, I'm glad I ranked them. That was useful.
Right.
Let me go find some other guy.
Which is why some of these guys that do stay healthy, like, we don't know about Bijan and Gibbs. But then after that, Austin Eckler, that's why he's on there for me, because Austin Eckler doesn't really miss games. He catches the ball, he runs it out of the backfield, and Justin Herbert just got that shiny new extension, so he's attached to a quarterback at least if he can continue to play there. That's going to be a theme with some of the players later on. Like, that's why I moved up Quentin Johnston ahead of Jordan Addison. Addison? Either way.
I don't know.
That's why I moved Johnson ahead of him in my rankings because he's attached to Justin Herbert now for a long time.
And he's attached to 2 wide receivers who don't necessarily stay healthy.
Correct.
If you're attached to 2 wide receivers who stay healthy and you're number 3 in the formation.
Just out of curiosity, where do you have ETN? Is he like on the outside looking in? Just on the outside looking in?
He is right there. There's just so many weapons in Jacksonville. I didn't think I'd say those words out loud ever
Right,
in
and
the last century,
I think that
but
helps
there's just
him.
so many.
I think it helps him.
It'll open up lanes. I
Yeah.
definitely think it'll open up lanes. He seems to be more of a, and again, he played well out of a backfield, but he's more of a pass catching explosive running back than a between the tackles type running back for me. Um, I think there'll be a lot more room open between the tackles because you're going to have to cover three wide receivers and a tight end this year.
Mhm.
So they go three wide, which they will, with a tight end out in formation, and you're going to get a lot of soft coverage for running backs. It's gonna be interesting to see how ETN takes advantage of that. Um,
I think the Jaguars put up points this year. So,
I had Trevor Lawrence in my top 10. You saw that, and
hmm
you know how much I hate those players from Clemson. So he was up there, and I think he belongs up there this year, which I didn't think that. I mean, look, I had Tua and Trevor Lawrence in my top 10, which if you had gone back and played the episode from the first week of last year, you would have not heard that. Those words were not coming out of my mouth. Today they're coming out. So whoever grabbed them, held on to them, they were redraft targets for a lot of dynasty leagues. Lawrence was held on by some, but Tua got sent to the graveyard in a bunch of leagues. So for everyone who grabbed up on that,
hmm
great weapons, great opportunity. Trevor Lawrence, I'm not saying sorry. Just not doing it.
all right, we'll move on
I'm
to
just not
wide
doing
receiver rankings now. Would you look at that? We agreed on the top three again. And I think it's because those are the top three. However, CD Lamb does not belong in the same category as Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase right now. Justin Jefferson belongs in the category by himself. It's pretty much Jefferson, Chase, Lamb, and then after that for me.
Yeah. Well, for me, Justin Jefferson is the number one wide receiver, and then the other two are very dependent on quarterback play.
Correct.
And you have Joe Burrow, who just got hurt, and Dak Prescott, who came back from an injury last year, but seems to be, I think, no worse for wear. But CeeDee Lamb's going to be based off of what Dak Prescott does. Jamar Chase is going to be based off of Joe Burrow throwing to him. They have just a connection. They have since LSU, and it's going to continue. But I don't think those top three are debatable, to be
No.
honest. I don't think there's anyone you could look in and go, oh, this guy belongs in there. No,
Right.
he doesn't.
No, those top
No.
three are those top three. The only person that's going to potentially make their case this year, and it all depends on the quarterback play of Aaron Rodgers, is Garrett Wilson. And if Rodgers stays for more than 1 year, like if they do Super Bowl and win and Aaron Rodgers is gone, then Garrett Wilson's stock drops. But if Aaron Rodgers is
It's
playing
gonna
for 2 to 3 years, then Garrett Wilson could jump over CD Lamb.
don't get me wrong, it's gonna be a big impact on what type of mentor Aaron Rodgers becomes for Zach Wilson also. If he when the Packers drafted Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers specifically said no, go for that guy. Right? He didn't want anything to do with it because they drafted his replacement. On this team, they've drafted a rookie, but they brought him in to overtake him, and I think it gives him a different sense of Aaron Rodgers' ego,
Yeah.
and I think it'll give him a different sense of uh, mentoring and teaching to the position because Aaron knows he took this deal to play out the rest of it. Like that, he took this deal for that reason. So,
Right.
however long he plays, however long it's in, it's his job. He's got no concern. So, does Zach Wilson learn? Does Zach Wilson grow? Does Zach Wilson become better in the pocket? Things to be learned and questioned and found out later. But Garrett Wilson in my top five for the same reason, because I think there's going to be a progression of Zach Wilson and you have a couple of years of Aaron Rodgers. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of drop off for the number one wide receiver on that team, given either way.
Right, and for what it's worth, being a Jet fan, I'm following more Jets training camp stuff than you are. From all the
I
clips
hope
that you're
so.
seeing, from all the clips that we're seeing when they're doing like warm ups and drills and stuff like that, it does seem like Aaron Rodgers is mentoring Zach Wilson. He'll point out something while Zach's doing a drill, and Zach will come over to him, and they'll actually have a conversation. It won't be like Rodgers tells him to do something, Zach goes doesn't know. They actually have a conversation with each other, which is what us Jets fans are truly hoping for. Is one of the things that comes out of this is that Rodgers makes Zach Wilson at least a usable quarterback in the NFL. I'm not expecting him to be the next Aaron Rodgers. I want him to be a serviceable quarterback in the NFL, which would help Garrett Wilson in the future. But
If you can be a consistent top 20 fantasy quarterback,
you can support.
you can lead NFL teams. You don't have to be number one. If Brees becomes what Brees should be, and that receiving staff keeps growing the way it is, and Aaron Rodgers can have any impact on Zach Wilson's career whatsoever. I mean, if they weren't the Jets, I'd say they might go far for a while, but they're the Jets, so I'm not going to do that.
Right, which is fair. That's a fair point.
But if you look at our next three, they're still the same people.
It's just
they're
jumbled.
Jumbled up again. So I think that tier is pretty much where that tier is also.
Right. Like, I like Jalen Waddle. I if you guys remember, our first year we did this was Jalen Waddle's rookie year. And I think I had Jalen Waddle as one of my top receivers coming out of that draft. I think who was number one? Chase was number one. And I think I had Waddle number two right behind him, ahead of Devonta Smith. And because Waddle got hurt, he wasn't playing his whole senior year. That's why the Dynasty community didn't have him where he is now. He's a top 6 Dynasty wide receiver, and he should be, especially in PPR leagues. And also, I'm hearing that, and we'll talk about it when we get to Europe at number 9. Some of the things I've been reading is that Tyreek may have lost a step in training camp this year. I don't know how truthful that is, or what we'll see when games start being played, but apparently he's had a case of the yips in training camp.
You remember when they said Jamar Chase couldn't catch the ball?
Right, that's why I said we'll wait and see when the games.
You remember when they said that, and we dropped him in rankings, and then Berman grabbed him because we dropped him in rankings because they said he couldn't catch the ball because there wasn't a white stripe on it. I've learned my lesson. Tyreek Hill's staying in the damn top 10. He's staying there. I don't want to hear it.
Look, we might as well jump to him now because we're talking about it. I don't have Tyreek Hill in my top 10 because he already started talking about retirement. That's the problem with it right now for me.
Aaron Donald started talking about retirement 2 years ago. He's still playing. He's in the 99 Madden club. I ain't putting stock in it.
Why he's
it is what it is. He's still getting triple coverage. It still is what it is. They just can't put anyone else around him because they suck and drafted nobody because they wasted all of their first round picks for the last 36 years.
Yeah, Super Bowl out of Pat.
But if we have we did get a Super Bowl out. You're right. I can live with that, actually. It was quite exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at this, and this is like, I don't think I'd ever done this before. I have 2 wide receivers from the same team twice.
So can I be honest with you? And I should have brought it up when I first read it, but I didn't see it. That's not the Smith I meant.
Which one? Oh.
I meant Devonta Smith.
You just said Smith, I just threw him out there because I know you're big on him. So I figured that's what you were. I would have edited it. It's fair. You would have had him there too, huh? I do have Devonta Smith in my top 15. So I mean, we're doubling up on a lot.
We both have 2 wide receivers from the same team, and we'll start with the ones that we both are on here with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Self-explanatory. They both put up points year in and year out. They belong there.
And Burrow can throw the ball wherever the hell he feels like it.
Correct.
One person gets covered by the safety, and whoever gets covered by the safety, the other guy gets the ball, and then that guy gets covered, and the other guy gets the ball, and that's it. You'll have, and even when one of them has a 3-touchdown game, which they will again, over and over again, because that's just the way that offense works. The other guy still puts up 10 catches with 150 yards and puts up 25 fantasy points. So he may not score the touchdowns that game, but he's getting the bulk of the catches, and the other guy gets the touchdown throws because that guy starts getting double covered, and that's the way it works in that offense. So as long as Joe Burrow stays healthy, expect to see those 2 wide receivers in the top 10 for a while, and in the top 20 of every redraft league that you get. They're going to go. I know it's rough drafting 2 wide receivers on the same team, and I don't always recommend that because your bye week sucks, and you've wasted another top pick on them. So I'm not saying to draft them both, but if you got stuck with the other one, oh no.
Right. It's like, oh,
not the worst thing.
What am I going to do?
Don't pass on T. Higgins because you saw Jamar Chase get drafted.
Right. Like, don't pass on T. Higgins
because you saw Jalen Waddle get drafted.
Right. Like, don't pass on either one of those guys because the other dude is on your team already either. Like, I understand the bye week problem. That's 1 week. You have him for all the other ones.
Yeah.
So that's 1
Yeah.
week. If your team is drafted and built correctly, you can survive a 1 week loss.
Yeah, even if you could bench your whole team for 1 week. If you can't lose one game in a season, you probably shouldn't make the playoffs anyway.
Right, then you're a borderline
Because you're
team and you
probably
did
not
something
going to
else
do
wrong.
great in the fantasy playoffs. So yeah, I mean, if you have a league where you have two wide receivers and they're your only two, you might be in trouble if one of them gets hurt, something like that. So 10-person league, 10, not 10-person league, but 10 roster spot league, maybe you got to play a different game there. But if you're in a 12, 13 roster spot league where you have 2 to 3 wide receivers and a flex, you're gonna be okay.
Right, when it comes to
You're gonna
Dynasty
be okay.
Startup, I am a big proponent on BPA, best player available, when it comes to Dynasty Startup. I'm not looking at bye weeks because it's a Dynasty Startup. I'm looking at who's available right there for me to take and where they are on my board. Like, yeah, if I have 3 wide receivers in a row, should I reach for a running back? No. Keep drafting the wide receivers. Running backs, like we just said, go hand in hand. But we talked about Waddle and Tyreek a little bit. Anything else you want to bring up about the cheetah?
No. I'm okay with that. Where is Stephon Diggs for you?
12.
12. Okay. That's right
Be-
around where Chris Olave is for me. If there's a huge question mark, if Michael Thomas is healthy, Shaheed made a come up, and you still have to deal with Derek Carr is going to spread the ball. Don't get me
yeah, but
wrong.
Derek Carr supports a top 10 option year in and year out.
He does, and I'm curious who that's going to be.
Right.
Um,
I think they'd be foolish to not
Listen, it's
center
going
it
to be a
around
training
Olave.
camp game, right? It's going to be a training camp game. Michael Thomas was number one. Is he still number one? No, he's 31 years old now, and he's been through 6 injuries. So no, he's not number one. But we saw what he can do with a target volume share. It's going to depend on who gets comfortable with what during training camp. There's a lot to go there, and that's why Olave gets dropped for me. There's just not enough coming out reporting from them that I've at least followed that shoots one of them into the top 8 for me. Olave is sitting on 12 because I do think he's going to be the bulk wide receiver at the end of the day. But I think there's enough people to go around, and Derek Carr's had his fair share of very good fantasy options at wide receiver and his fair share of very not good wide receivers at fantasy. Um,
He made
Who's the
Hunter
slot
Renfro
receiver on
relevant.
that team? Help me out. Yeah, and this is where my next statement was. Thank you for finishing my next sentence for me. Who's the slot receiver on that team?
I think
Because
it's
you might
gonna
want to
be.
watch out.
I think it's gonna be
Um,
Olave or Michael Thomas.
he's an inside guy, right? Like
Except for last year
let's.
when he supported Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams. It's not fair.
No, I
Let's
know.
not
That's what I'm
not
saying.
call.
Is
Let's not do
it's
that.
like what you brought up with Zach Wilson earlier. If he's a top 20 quarterback, he's going to be good. Also, a top 20 quarterback will also support a top 15 wide receiver. That's usually what happens. Like, except for the New York Giants and Daniel Jones, but that's a different thing altogether. But just a little thing about Chris Olave before we move on. He was averaging, I believe, more points per game than Garrett Wilson was at one point.
He was. He was doing. He had an excellent year going, and that was with a combination of Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. And if you can succeed there, you can succeed with Derek Carr. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he can't. If this had expanded to we got one round to draft, name every player that's going to get drafted in that round, Olave is going to be on there. Um, he doesn't crack the top 10 just because I want to see the new offense,
Mm-hmm.
and
Which is
there's
fair.
going to be progression. But Derek Carr is also a little older, right? Michael Thomas is going to fade away, but what's going to come in after that? How are they going to build? What's going to come around that? Is Alvin Kamara alive? I need answers.
He
I
took
need answers.
he took a plea deal, right?
I think so.
So
I don't
I
really
don't
know.
think he's
I
going to get
don't.
that 6 game suspension. Everyone thought if it's a plea deal now.
I think he's still going to get some suspension
I think
because
it's
the
2 or
NFL can't say
4.
no to that.
I think it's
I
going to be
think two is
4.
the I think two is the noise that's going on right now. I think it's only two that they're saying.
Right. I think it's going to be a 4, and he's going to
Um,
appeal it down to a 2. I think that's what's going to happen. But
which very well could. I honestly think because since they started up so high, I think they'll just go at it one time, let the union come in, let him come in, do one thing, and I think that's just what they're going to go with. Whatever they say is the deal is the deal. But yeah, you're looking at a lot of shakeup
mm-hmm.
there. And I'm not opposed to having Olave in the top 10. I just it's a team that confuses me.
Yeah,
And
they're
teams that confuse me don't often get ranked inside my top 10. And often, don't get me wrong, that is a mistake. Don't get me wrong. That's usually the mistake I make. Is that I'm like, this team's in turmoil. Who would possibly he's number 3? God damn it. Ugh. Why'd I pass on that guy? And
oh
that's what happens,
right.
right? Right.
And
You try to make all these right decisions, and
like when
then
you
that
say
happens.
the Kansas City Chiefs aren't making the playoffs and then they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they suck. No one needs them. It's no fun if you don't make one bold prediction every year.
You were so
You can take
that wasn't
these
just a bold prediction,
bets
Pat.
are going to be good.
You were dead set on them not being good this past year, and then
I
they
was
went out
dead
and
set on
won the
Miles Sanders
fucking
being a
Super
top
Bowl.
5 running back, and you think that changed anything? There's one bold prediction you got to stand by. Make it.
Well, I think
Own
Miles
it.
Sanders is about to have the best year of his career, to be
You'd
honest
be
with
a
you. But
happier person. Yo, calm down. All right, Miles Sanders sucks.
he's gonna have the best year of his career if he
He
stays
might.
healthy.
He might.
Yeah.
He might.
And then like I said,
CJ Stroud, rookie of the year. Here you go. There you go. You want a crazy one? I got you.
C.J.
I have
Stroud,
him
you
written
have
down.
him over Bryce Young.
No, not a chance in hell, but it's
Oh,
funny as hell.
oh, okay. Thank you. But yeah. Anyway.
Oh,
So yeah, AJ Brown's at 5 for me. He's at 6 for you, and then like I said, I have Devonta Smith at 10, and you have Devonta Smith in the top 15. You said again
yeah.
they're attached to a young quarterback. Devonta Smith's on his rookie deal still, and you have AJ Brown's locked up.
Yeah, and who's the running back for Philly?
Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift.
The running back for Philly?
Who are you talking about?
Who's the running back for Philly? Who's going to run the ball the most in Philly?
Rashad Penny. Miles Sanders isn't there anymore, Pat.
Who's going to run the ball the most?
Out of the backfield, like in the running back position?
No.
Okay, it's Jalen Hurts. I knew what you were getting at.
Jalen Hurts is going to run the ball the most. Right, exactly my point. So Jalen Hurts is the pinnacle of that offense, no matter where it goes to. So expect him to throw, expect him to run, expect him to be
Fun.
everywhere. And that puts 2 wide receivers in the top 15 as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Um,
And a top 10 tight end.
he's wait till my 10 feet of bullshit comes up.
Look at that segue, though. Look at that.
Segue!
Look at that. See? Dallas Goedert, top 10 for both of us.
Beautiful segue.
Yeah, right? Look at me.
There's not a lot of questions at the top, except for you. Why the hell is George Kittle ranked 4th?
What else am I going to put there?
10 feet of questionable bullshit is what you could put there.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. The tight end position sucks. I have a 32-year-old Darren Waller in my top 10. What do you mean? What am I doing?
He probably belongs there.
I have Cole Kmet at 10 just because he got paid. He hasn't shown me anything to be in the top 10
you gotta
except for
do
money.
something. Hey, he totally caught like 20 passes last year. Shut up. I don't know.
1 and 2 is it.
I don't even.
That's
I can't even remember when we did tight ends the first year and we just put a picture of one guy up.
Yes.
We were better. We were better then. We should have done that again.
I almost put Dalton Schultz in my top 10.
He might belong there. Travis Kelce's number 1.
Even though he's 33 years old.
It doesn't matter how old he is. This just listen, and this is coming from the bottom of my heart. Don't draft tight ends based off of them being rookies. Just draft the best goddamn tight end and then figure it out as you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When it comes to tight ends, just draft the best one that's there somewhere in the 16th round, unless you really want Travis Kelce, and run with it. Because at some point there's going to be 8 other tight ends who have a good week, and that's just the way it's going to go.
That's just the way it is.
Dawson Knox was the best tight end at one point. Let's be honest here. The tight end position is 10
Done.
feet of questionable BS. It's what the tight end position is.
Yeah, the only difference between our list is you don't have George Kittle in your top
I don't.
six because
I
I'm
don't.
assuming it's because of his age and then who's throwing him the
Injury
football
history.
and injury.
No,
Okay,
it's
which is
all injury
which
history for
is
me.
fair.
It just is.
But besides that, the other five guys in my top six and the five guys in your top five are the same people. See, Kyle Pitts, he just I Arthur Smith's a dick.
Downgraded every year for me.
Arthur
He's getting
Smith is a
downgraded every
dick.
year for me. Well, look, he was one of, in history, the best rookie tight ends last year, and he had a shit year. And he was still one of the best. That's how much rookie tight ends just don't have an impact.
He wasn't a rookie
So,
last year.
whatever. He
2 years
felt
ago.
like a rookie last year.
It was
Who
2
gives a
years
shit?
ago.
I'm following this crap.
That was the dude
You're
we
right.
put the one
It was,
picture
because
of.
that was the dude who put the one picture up. You're right. You're 100% right.
He was the highest
Listen,
drafted tight end in NFL
everyone
history.
on the everyone on the Falcons was a rookie last year. That's it. I'm changing the thing. What happened with the Falcons last year?
Arthur Smith
we
happened.
Don't know. Arthur Smith happened, right? And if it's not a great team, it's going to be in the dumpster. And the team went in the dumpster. Calvin really got suspended. I think that was the end of their season, to be completely honest with you. Once Calvin wasn't playing anymore, I think that's why he wanted to move on from Calvin, because he knew damn well Calvin tanked his whole season, which probably wasn't going to be all that good anyway.
They still might win the division this year.
I think
division
he was betting on
sucks.
them to lose, to be honest.
Their division sucks.
Their division does suck.
Who's the best team in that division? New Orleans?
New Orleans, yeah. Definitely New Orleans. Who's playing quarterback for Tampa again?
Talk about 10 feet of crap. I think it's Baker Mayfield, by the way. It's either Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask.
Hell, he worked out great for the Rams. Listen, I don't even want to be mad at him. I don't want to knock him. Right? Without him, we would have totally lost that one game that we didn't have a first-round draft pick any for. So who gives a shit? So he played great that one game.
So my question to you is: you have 3 rookies at the end of your 10 feet of questionable bullshit.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. Listen, if you're going to draft in a dynasty league and you're out of you have all of these questionable ass tight ends that we don't know what they're going to be, grab a rookie.
Yeah, but why do you have them ranked like that?
I think that's how they're going to finish.
For this year or dynasty-wise?
For this year.
Okay.
For this year.
I think dynasty-wise, Dalton Kincaid's the best prospect out of the 3.
I think so also, but Buffalo supported a really good tight end once, and they did great with that. And then the very next year, the exact same tight end was non-existent, and I'm not ready to invest in Josh Allen supporting a tight end yet, especially since they just brought in Damian Harris. Their wide receiver core, Gabe Davis, is emerging. Josh Allen runs the ball himself. Stephon Diggs is in my top 10 for a reason. It's because he's Stephon Diggs. I just don't know where that tight end's going to fit in. And he might have his great years. He might have his low years. He might have his this year. He might have his that year. When it comes to supporting tight ends, Detroit seems to support a tight end. Good quarterback, bad quarterback, Jared Goff. No matter what it is, the tight end position gets a decent ranking in terms of where they finish fantasy-wise. Las Vegas offensive coordinator loved Darren Waller. Everything's changed in Las Vegas. Don't get me wrong. So it's going to be interesting between those bottom 2. I'm not saying they're not interchangeable at all. But Las Vegas likes their tight end. They made a person out of a 30-year-old Darren Waller. So interested to see. They moved on from Darren Waller for a reason. They moved on. They drafted this guy. Went a little higher than they really should have for him. And we've played this game before, when franchises reach for players that we really don't think belong there, it seems to be because they see something in them that maybe everyone else doesn't. Are they right? Are they wrong? We don't know. We're not their offensive coordinator. We don't call their plays. We don't make their decisions. But they went a little out of the way for him. Detroit went a little out of the way for Sam Laporta, but that's just because he came from Iowa. So I have them ranked that way. I think that's how they finished this year. And it'd be interesting to see how Buffalo supports a tight end, long term tight end, not a Dawson Knox has a blowout year and then Dawson Knox gets one fantasy point every other week since then, and he's still sitting on my roster as a dynasty player because fuck him. Anywho,
But so
weird finish to that sentence. Sorry.
I would like to say that I do think that Pat Fryermuth has good prospects going forward because there wasn't a whole lot of stuff to really like about Kenny Pickett last year. There wasn't he wasn't bad, he wasn't stellar. He was kind of like middle of the road there, and I'm sorry, my girlfriend's a Steelers fan, Danielle. I'm sorry that I'm saying bad things about Kenny Pickett. Don't beat me up later. But
This from the man who has Zach Wilson as a quarterback last year.
shut your
Just
horrible.
laugh in his face. Just laugh in his face.
You can laugh in my face, but just remember Zach Wilson beat Pittsburgh last year in Pittsburgh, and then he caught a touchdown
have
and
been
graded on you.
difficult.
He caught a touchdown and graded on them. I don't want to hear it. He has more receiving touchdowns than Denzel Mims does. Anyway,
Oh,
but,
hey, the other
Freiermuth
tight
had
end from the Lions is now out for the season.
Freiermuth had a connection with Kenny Pickett, at least. So that's one thing to go forward with them building on it, because that's the one thing that all the Steelers quarterbacks, is one thing that Ben always had. He had a tight end that he had a connection with, whether it was Heath Miller, Jesse James. That's something that Tomlin, I feel like, builds into his system, and so I think Freiermuth is going to be one of the featured players, mainly because Deontay Johnson, one, can't hold on to the ball on a catch usually, and two, I think George Pickens takes over as wide receiver 1 that year, so they're going to need a safety blanket on third down. They're not going to go to Deontay, and they're not going to go to Pickens because Pickens is probably going to get double covered on third down, so they're going to go to Freiermuth. So that's why I think Freiermuth is a good dynasty tight end.
Don't get me wrong. There's about 7 tight ends in that 10 feet of questionable BS.
And I'm assuming Freiermuth is one of them.
Freiermuth is definitely one of them. He's probably one of the top ones. Kittle's probably one of the last ones, to be honest. It's
Where's
just
Cole Kmet?
age. Cole Kmet's probably in the middle somewhere, to be honest. Darren Waller's on the lower end of it. They're all in there, right? They're all going to be, if they all stayed healthy, they would all be serviceable tight ends for this year and probably at least a second. And that's all you need from a tight end position in any sort of dynasty league whatsoever, because there's a position that's completely, no one's going to roster 3 tight ends unless they're dumb. Sorry for everyone who rosters 3 tight ends. If you need a second tight end to fill your flex spot, you either have 2 really good tight ends or you really have a bad team.
Or if you have a taxi squad, you can have tight ends on your taxi
Respectfully, squad. I said to fill a flex spot in a roster. If you need a second tight end, or your entire team got hurt.
Yeah, that's the thing too.
That could happen. Your whole team could be on the IR. But that's about it, right? We're not rostering 2 tight ends unless you got super lucky and you somehow have Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews or Kyle Pitts. That's really the only reason you're rostering 2 tight ends, and you probably drafted them in the 2nd and 3rd round, and you should have done that. So you got 1 tight end. He gets hot. He gets cold. Drop him, right? Kyle Pitts you're holding on to in Dynasty. Travis Kelce you're holding on to through a couple of bad weeks. Mark Andrews you're holding on to. That 10 feet of questionable whatever. If someone gets hot and someone's not, I'm sorry, that's bye, and let's go to the next guy for me. And I think that's where that comes from, is none of those guys are set on a roster at this moment. If one of them's hot and one of them's not, go for it.
Yep.
And that's really all it is. There's no one in there that I would say you need to go get this guy. Although it's a tight end, I really don't think I'd say that at all.
And there was at one point in Pat's league, I believe he was treating the tight end position as a kicker, and he was going with the flavor of the week approach and dropping them every week and starting a new one. Yep.
Every week I had a new tight end,
yeah.
And that's just what it was. They put up points like a kicker. They put up, maybe you get one good week from them, but normally you're looking at 10, 11 points in PPR, unless you're one of those elite top 3. I think that year was Kelce, Andrews, and Hockenson, which is how I have them ranked right now. I think that was it, right? Even Kyle Pitts wasn't putting up points every week. It was just those 3, and then the rest of it was just one week it was this guy was hot. The next week that guy was hot. And I'm almost positive Pat Freiermuth was on my bench throughout all of that. He was there for the weeks he was projected to do well, and then CJ, who's your mama, got thrown in there in the 2 weeks that he was projected to do well. There was plenty of tight ends that got thrown around that year. I'm just not locked into a single tight end unless Travis Kelce's on your roster, and you're probably going to have to spend a high draft capital to get him. And if you're drafting a brand new Dynasty league, I'm not sure if that's where you're investing because someone's probably going to pick him and you're going to go, really? It's like 4 picks too early.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm with you on that. If like unless you have Kelsey or Andrews, and you get 8 points out of your tight end position week in and week out, that's a win for me in PPR. If you get 4 for 40 every week out of your tight end, good for you. If you have Kelsey and Andrews and they're putting up that, then you're a little upset. But
yeah, because you spend high draft capital. Those top 4 tight ends, you're going to have to spend capital in the first 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I really think you will have to. In the first 5 rounds, you're going to have to draft a tight end. And then after that, it's which one did you grab in the 10th round? At that point, if you grab them in the 10th round, 10 points ain't so bad. Because it's just not. You 4 for 40, you grab a touchdown every other week, you're doing okay.
Pretty much. The tight end position is a very depressing position.
Ain't that the damn truth?
Yep. So that's it for the rankings for this one. Not entirely sure when our next episode's going to be. We're recording this on July 31st. Well, I'll post it tomorrow, which will be August 1st, because that's how the days work. We'll figure it out. We'll get more frequent as we get closer to the season. We might not do another one until our draft itself. When we do our big thing. I was going to talk to you when we got off air.
Oh, okay.
About all that, because I'm getting asked by everybody like, "What's going on with this league?" Chill.
Looking forward to that then.
So, for now, see you guys later. We'll be back soon. Thank you for watching.
Hold on before you go, and I know we're here. We're here. Let's just put this up right now, just for a quick look. And you're on the clock. Who's your pick?
If I'm picking right now?
Yeah, let me get you a little look-see at the team here. We got Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins. We're pretty good on Damon Pierce. Holy moly! So we're probably looking for a wide receiver, right? I don't think we're crazy here. I don't think we're crazy.
I'm looking to trade down because I don't like Jonathan Mingo here. Well, who's his tight end?
Tight end. We have
Trey McBride,
Njoku, and nope, got Kyle Pitts.
Wrong team.
Oh, no, you're right.
So he has Mark Andrews and Trey McBride.
He's got Andrews and Trey McBride, so he's fine there also. So you're looking at wide receiver. So yeah, I think I agree with you. I'm looking to trade out of this.
If I'm not trading out, oh god,
I think he's got to go. Oh god, don't look at all of my players that are on my watch list. Oh no.
Yeah, no, well, I don't pick until the 3rd round, or 4th round. Sorry.
Okay. I don't even know if I have picks.
if I'm forced to take a wide receiver here, I'm honestly taking the shot at Rashee Rice over Jonathan.
Well, you see him on the watch list there. There's a reason he's there.
Right. This is gross here.
I agree. I did not like this rookie class. It's a mess. It's a mess, and they all went to the wrong teams. I'm sorry. Just to be nice, they all went to the wrong teams. Right.
Yeah.
If Jackson Smith is on a different team than the Seattle, he's getting picked a lot earlier. He's a lot higher on my board. He's instantly in that spot that you think he was missed in, right there at 3. I don't mind Addison at 3. I think those 3 wide receivers are a good call. I think number 1 and 2 is what you're going to see in every rookie league. Yeah, text me if I'm wrong. I think that's what you're going to see, and I think it's going to be in that order for every single rookie draft you guys do right now, unless something crazy comes out between now and then. Mm-hmm. I think that's what you're going to see. We got a pick, and we have a running back from Miami.
A-Chain. He likes him a lot. Actually, I kind of saw that coming. For me, I like Keandre Miller more than A-Chain, but
Let's
because of
recap. We now have Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, Zach Moss, Khalil Herbert, Damon Pierce.
he doesn't have Rashad White anymore. He traded him to Mikey. I don't know why that's still showing up on his roster.
I skipped that.
Yeah.
I think I skipped it. Did I not skip it? I
No,
think I skipped
I
it.
was saying for the people at home why Pat's skipping it.
I get it. I think maybe that trade is what opened up that spot for that running back. I just don't see the. I don't see the point. And we got Kincaid.
Yeah.
I had it off the board. This is
So
fun.
in the
Active
one
live
league
draft.
I've done a draft in so far, I had 3 picks in the top 6. I had the 3rd, the 5th, and the 6th pick. I left the draft with JSN,
That'd
Quentin
be the worst
Johnston,
place to
and
go.
Dalton Kincaid. So
It's got to be the worst place to go. 3 has to be in this draft for me. 3 has to be the worst pick to
it's
have.
it's still a no brainer. It's JSN at 3 for me, but it's such a drop off from Gibbs and Bijan.
Right, and it's you have to almost see if you can trade into that 1-2 spot. It's almost like an NFL
I
draft
tried.
where you're sitting at 3 and you just are like, I need to get to 1 or 2 because I don't want this guy.
Yeah, no, I tried to get up
Does
to
he
number
have
1.
does he have the profile to be great? Yeah. Does he have to play with Geno Smith? Yes. Yes, he does.
Yeah, I'm trying to
I was
find
really
the.
hoping that next pick came up as fast as the previous one did, but it didn't.
Well, it's the same person picking.
That's why I was hoping it went as quickly because he was literally there. I thought he would just, I figured it out 1-2. Otherwise, you think you'd wait on the first pick, figure out your second one. Although we have 12 hours to make a pick.
It's easier to do it this way for people. So what this draft is considered a slow draft. It's so you don't have to worry about people making this time the draft. It pauses every night at 10 p.m., unpauses at 8 a.m. You have 12 hours to make your pick. It does not take 12 hours per pick usually.
It also gives you, and this is the one thing I really like about it, it gives you that time to make a trade.
Right. That's why I like
It
this
doesn't happen
draft a
often.
lot.
Don't get me wrong. It doesn't happen often. But I feel like if there was a lot more communication between people, I think it would happen a lot more often. I think Alex could have dropped out and gone all the way back to the second round to grab him. And I think he could have gotten a little bit more back on the other end from it.
Right, but that's if he can. He could have, he's already picking at the 203. I think A-Chain might have fallen to the 203. He also might be hedging his bets here, and you can get Mingo or Rice at the 203, and he gets the running back that he likes which is fine. Going back to the league where I got JSN and Quentin Johnston at 103 and 105, I offered first overall the 103 and the 105, and they didn't even counter.
Which again, I actually get.
Right.
I get that.
Any other year, that's kind of a no-brainer.
105,
except, but
103, 105 is a crapshoot. You're getting 2 wide receivers, and you don't know what to make of them. You don't know which 2 you're getting. You know you're getting one of them because he'll still be there.
Right.
And then it's a question of which is the third one. Does everyone on, LA magically stay healthy this year? No, they don't. They don't, by the way. I've seen into the future, and no, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams do not stay healthy the whole year.
No. Which is why I liked him.
By just watching football once.
Yeah, I like Quentin Johnston more and more as we get closer to the season. I had him firmly behind Addison, but then that whole issue with Addison going, 140 miles an hour as a Lamborghini came up, and then Herbert signed his extension. Kirk Cousins, you don't know who's going to be the quarterback in Minnesota in a year or 2 years. So it just kept making more sense that Quentin Johnston should be my wide receiver too in this year's draft pool. And JSN just looks like a freak of nature. Because everything I heard from Olave and from Garrett Wilson, his 2 teammates, right? They were both teammates in Ohio State with him, said that he was better than both of them. And they're both monsters right now, so. My brother's at work currently. I wonder if he's going to make this pick at work.
I feel like the question is where they go. I'm very questionable about what you're going to get from Geno. Great year. Great year. Don't discount the last year he had. But I'm not sure I'm ready to throw all my marbles in someone who's going to have to play with Gino for a significant amount of time now. Um,
Yeah, no, I get it.
but no, there you go. Listen, Thielen did great in Minnesota.
Can you go back to the all tab, please?
Yeah,
I just got a text message from
would
my
love
brother.
to.
Who would you take here?
Ooh, live in living color.
Yeah, so can you go to my
Well, let's
brother's
go
team?
through. Where is your brother's
All the
team?
way at
It's
the end,
this one
yeah.
right here.
He doesn't need a
We got
quarterback.
Wilson, Mahomes. No, he does not need a quarterback.
He's at
Holy jeez,
5.
how many quarterbacks do you
All right,
have?
so Fournette. No,
Fournette,
that's him.
Eckler, Jacobs, Pollard.
Is Pollard sitting
I,
out currently? Is he holding out? I don't remember.
I don't think he is. I don't remember, but don't
Okay,
quote me on
so
that. Let's see what we
Ty-
got a running back right now. We got crap. Ask him if he wants to trade with me. Um, tell him I'll trade. Give me a player.
Pat said he will trade.
Give me a
um,
player.
uh,
He's got Hill, Metcalf, McLaurin, Dortch, Jefferson. He doesn't need a wide receiver.
he
He
needs a
really,
running back. If anything, who's his tight end?
does he?
Who's tight end?
Oh, good point. Good point. Good point.
Kittle
Good
and
point. Good point.
Dulcich.
We got Kittle, Everett, Dulcich. He don't need a tight end either.
I'm probably
It's
going
not.
Charbonnet or
Are you looking?
I'm going Charbonnet or
Uh,
Keandre Miller here, and uh,
yeah, it's a crapshoot, right? I mean, um, where am I? Here you go.
he said trade what, and I said for the pick. Well, let's see what. Yeah, no, I don't. Why? Who would you take here, Rashee Rice or Michael
Probably
Mayer?
given my team. Given my team, I think I take Rashid Rice here. I do have Ingram and Komet as my tight ends in this league. My wide receivers are a very questionable who's who of who's who.
Matt
Um,
wants to know what
I,
the offer is.
does he need a running back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
I feel like Miles Sanders for the 202 is not a bad offer.
Wouldn't be completely opposed to that. I think he's looking at a decent year, but I think Connor.
I don't think Connor's worth the second round pick anymore. Not with the question of quarterback this year.
I Connor's my wild, and I mean, listen, I might almost hold on to Connor over that because he seems to just thrive through those situations. I don't know. He just does for me. Nothing out of the doesn't spring out of anything, but like he seems to have good years when you look at it and go, you probably shouldn't have a good year here. Um, wouldn't be opposed to it. What you got?
I'm texting him. I said I'm telling Pat to offer you Miles Sanders for it. No, I told him if I was drafting, I'd either go Charbonnet or Keandre Miller here.
And I agree with you. That's just where you got to go. You don't know what's coming out of Kamara's suspension here. And again, we talked about tight end in Las Vegas. They just like to have him there.
He said he would
But
be interested in Sanders. I like being this fucking third party person here right now. This is fun for me. I'm like making the trade, but I'm not part of it. It's like curing my itch.
would it give me this pick and the last overall pick in the draft?
Oh, hold on. So you'd want the 202, the 210, and the 510?
No, what? He doesn't even have 210.
Oh, the pick right now.
202 and 510. Yeah, 202 is right now. 202, 510. I'm not that crazy.
Okay.
I've seen Miles Sanders play. Calm down.
Okay, that's why I was confused.
I
I was
just
like,
want to draft Mr. Irrelevant. It's just want to be that guy. That's so wrong.
I'm waiting for an answer. He might be. He is working, and he's a 911 operator, so hopefully he's prioritizing that over this.
I really hope so.
I think so. I think he would.
I hope so.
But yeah, no. So he's telling me that he'd be leaning, spoiler alert, Keandre Miller here between the two running backs, which is where I
And
would be
I
personally
get
leaning
it.
to, because with Alvin Kamara's questionability, and then Jamal
Yeah,
Williams is going to be the full time back if Alvin Kamara gets hurt. They're going to have Keandre Miller there. It's going to be more of a 1-2 punch, like for Jamal Williams' entire career.
Jamal Williams, and this is what scared me for my entire life is look how many touchdowns he scored last year. Right,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't have all that many touches. He didn't have all that many yards. But goddamn, what do you have? 11 touchdowns last year.
It was like that one game where Jerome
He's a
Bettis had,
touchdown ball hawk.
what was it? Jerome Bettis had 3 carries for 1 yard and 3 touchdowns that
Yeah,
one game.
and 3 touchdowns. Right, exactly. So, I just when you look at teams and you go, who's going to punch the ball into the end zone, and this is a big reason that I still have Damian Harris rostered, is because I think at some point, yeah, Josh Allen is that guy. But if you don't want to run Josh Allen into it, Damian Harris has done his fair share of running balls in from the 1 yard line.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to pressure him. I'm trying to make this trade while recording. Like,
Listen, yeah. Just give me an answer if you aren't immediately sending someone out to an emergency. But no, it's a crapshoot on available running backs in this draft after you get through 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are obvious, and 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are very much. Did someone get hurt?
he asked if I would make the deal, and I said, yeah, probably. Ow, itchy.
Let me
He said he'll do
let me
it,
do
so send it
this.
over to him.
Okay. I'm gonna play a game here where I don't know how to do that on a computer. So give me a
Trade? Where
second.
it
I'm gonna
says
jump.
trade,
I'm
Pat.
It's
No,
work for
why are you
me.
doing it in there?
Oh, God. Okay.
Go
What are you
back.
talking about? I was going back to my phone.
Oh, no, you're fine on there. Go to the tab that
Oh,
says
trades.
trades.
Hey, look at
Trade.
that. Trade. I
Now
know how to do
select my
this.
brother.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it. I figured it out. I'm the world's greatest detective. Miles Sanders.
Mr. Fishy! No!
Graphics.
202,
We need
yep.
202. We need to add that
And
in.
then the 510.
And no, where's this year?
Oh, you wrote
Help.
right there. There
I
you go.
figured it out.
Add
I'm
and
so good at this.
send trade.
I figured it out. God. It's the greatest app ever.
It's really not that difficult. You're just a.
I can't read. Why are you hating?
You're wearing
Disabilities are a
glasses.
part of life.
Sir, you're
There's a
wearing
trade pending.
glasses.
Yeah, it's because I can't see. Have you not caught on to that?
Right. Whatever. Trade is now pending. And because we don't need to do votes in this league anymore, surprise, surprise, process trade. Confirm. Boom. There you go, Pat. You should be. You might have to.
I'm on the
you're
clock.
Congratulations. Now we get to watch you live make this picker for She Rice.
Oh,
No, double down. Take Anthony Richardson. Take Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson. I like that. I have 3 really good quarterbacks.
Take him. You won't.
What about the Zach?
Charbonnet.
It sounds like a wine. Sounds like a wine. I like wine. Chardonnay.
He's hurt currently, and he's also with Kenneth Walker.
Just questionable.
With Kenneth Walker.
Oh, right. There's another really good running back there. Oh, my God. It's almost like both of these top running backs have another really good running back there. Yeah, this is easy.
Okay.
Let's move on. This has been fun. Thank you all.
Yeah, we got to see a trade live on air, fellas.
I tried one time.
Yes, we did it. Okay. So, again, if you like this video, please like it. Hit that thumbs up button thingy, not the thumbs down one, the thumbs up one. If you want to hit the thumbs down one, just keep it to yourself. And there's also another button to the right of that says subscribe. You should hit that too, please.
You should hit that.
Okay, Pat, say goodbye to the kids at home.
But they should be asleep.
This is it. Oh my
Bye.
God. Bye.